And then he said, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills.
I can't catch a break, guys.
Yeah.
Get them the fuck away from me. I can't be around those guys.
People think, oh, well, cleaning your room, that's just a cliche. It's like, yeah, really, eh? Just go ahead and try it.
If people had any idea how powerful sleep is for healing from anything, and the fact that it's free.
My mind is absolutely bulletproof, solid as a rock.
Podcast.
So, Brandon, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm just great. Welcome back to another episode of the Fighting Fit show, the Fighting Fit podcast. It's been several months since our last episode, but we promise this year is the year we're going to do it a lot more consistently. Before we get into the meat and bones of it, just a quick message from our sponsors, which is ourselves. So if you're interested in working with Fighting Fit, go to fightingfitnation.com, book a call myself to find out more about our fantastic online programs, as well as being able to download some freebies. We got a free Fitness Mindset Mastery ebook. It's going to give you everything you need to know about motivation, habits, goal setting, setting up good routines, time management, all that good stuff. You got free nutrition guides, and you also got free vegan recipe books on there as well, all for free. fightingfitnation.com. All right, guys. So today's episode. So a lot has obviously happened since our last kind of done a podcast. Loads and loads happened really. Myself and Brandon are both members of that club. So we had our little baby was born last week. We got a new facility on the cards, a new Kickstarter program just launched. Another one of the endless lockdowns has occurred. So yes, that's kind of going to be the topic of today. We're just going to really be having a chat about maybe everything that's been going on over the last couple of months and kind of keep everybody updated with our plans then maybe for the future. Brandon, what do you think?
Yeah, sounds good to me, man. Sounds good to me.
So I think a good place to start is maybe with the new facility. Always start on a positive note. Exciting things are in store for our Fighting Fit members. We are finally getting to open our new, I would go as far as saying our dream facility. It's going to have all the room we need for activities. It's going to be able to finally run the program exactly what we wanted. We were always limited for space. Obviously, when you kind of start out as an entrepreneur, kind of was scary enough. Even just getting that small facility. So to have a facility like this is going to be amazing. It's a credit to our team, to yourself, Brandon, to Chris, to Jenny, to Sam, to myself, if I give myself a bit of a pat in the back. But it's also a massive part of it is down to the clients. You know, it has been an incredible year in 2020. We're all delighted to see the back of it. But from my perspective, you know, the loyalty, the commitment, you know, that our members and our team have shown is really what gave us the confidence to make the big commitment and to kind of, you know, at a time when everyone else is zigging, we're zagging, we're kind of jumping and making that bigger commitment, because I just feel like it's time now to give the members and our staff and our coaches, you know, the facility we all deserve. Give ourselves that canvas to truly paint our masterpiece, if that makes sense. So are you excited about the new facility, Brandon?
Yeah, honestly, I'm so excited. Like just the space alone, the fact that, you know, we kind of updated here, you know, must be nearly 2 years, isn't it?
Since the refurb in the current spot, but it's just over 2 years, I think. Yeah,
I can believe that, because it always just feels like it happened last year. But I said that all last year, so it must be 2 years now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and we've carried over the theme of that in that OCB board. Is that what it's called?
OSB board. Yeah, it's
OSB.
It's going to be the same. Yeah. So people kind of ask like, what is the plan like? Because obviously not everyone knows that we're keeping the old studio as well. So basically the plan for that is like, what I really want to do with that is something that myself and Chris and even yourself as well are kind of quite passionate about is yoga. You kind of got more into the Pilates end of things. They do have a lot of crossover. I do like the hippiness of yoga. I think that's something that people need. A little bit of meditation, the shavasana, this kind of stuff at the end, I think is very, very powerful for people. A lot of people don't like it. It makes them feel uncomfortable, but I find that we got to lean into these things that make us uncomfortable. We've got to sit in quiet with yourself. I think is a very powerful tool. But what I really want to do with the personal training studio, so we've got two. So we're going to call the new one's going to be the high performance unit, and that's where all the group training is going to take place. And then the personal training studio, that's where kind of all the one-on-ones and the specialty programs, like maybe we're running the odd boxing course, or maybe we're running a small group boxing course, or maybe a yoga class and that kind of stuff. That's kind of where all that's going to take place. But especially the yoga, obviously one-on-one, we've always had a high demand for one-on-one that we've never really been able to fulfill, just because we were so busy with classes. We 12 sessions on a day, starting from 5:30 in the morning till 7:00 o'clock in the evening.
No.
So all the peak times are basically just filled up with the group stuff. So we kind of constantly turning people away for that. So now it means you'll be able to give people that the higher level of service, that one-on-one. One-on-one is fantastic. I prefer groups, especially just more so because where we're at with our journey. We're relatively experienced with exercise, I like to think. So the group atmosphere, the energy, the crack, that's kind of what I like about my fitness element. And then the beautiful part about the Find Fit program is then that obviously you get the one-on-one support with nutrition, the accountability, and all that kind of back end stuff, the online community. But then obviously the yoga, now this is something I really want to lean into. I feel like it's going to be so powerful, and especially if Chris and Ashton have been doing a fantastic job running kind of our yoga classes, say, over the last kind of couple of months. A lot of the online ones, especially with the lockdowns, especially with the increase in stress levels, the increase in anxiety, not knowing what's around the corner, when's it going to end, the uncertainty of it all. Tapping into that yoga is going to be fantastic. It's also great for athletes and all the GA teams and soccer teams. So I really feel like there is a big market for it. There's going to be hopefully a huge demand. I feel like Chris especially, I think, is a fantastic ambassador for yoga. He does incredible work. He's been practicing really hard. He's been putting in the time. I think he could be the person to bring yoga to the men of Dundalk, and that's kind of my hope for it, as well as Ashton obviously being just literally probably, as you've seen, like probably one of the best yogis in terms of being able to, in terms of having mastership of the asana anyway. It's absolutely incredible. She'll be fantastic. Because I do find, like, not being sexist around, but women like to learn from women, men maybe like to learn from men. Obviously a little bit of crossover. To a lot of people, it doesn't really make a difference, but it is always nice to kind of, because you can relate, obviously just can relate a little bit better. So any thoughts then on the facility? I know because you've kind of been building up your one-on-one personal training clientele there before the lockdown has occurred again. What's your thoughts?
Well, for most of my career, I've pretty much done groups. So
And Brian, just try and get closer to the mic, just because it's the audio on my end.
Sorry, is that any better?
Yeah, much better.
Cool. For most of my career, I've pretty much done one-on-ones, or not one-on-ones, groups. And like, as you said, we have done one-on-ones, and I love one-on-ones because it's so personal. You know what I mean? It really is personal training. It's not like small group personal training is small groups, and there's definitely benefits to small groups. That whole energy, like the energy really is, what it's all about. As well as that, most people, in terms of a group setting, it's like we're all running off the same hymn sheet. We're all working off our own individual intensity, and you need corrected, but you don't need your form corrected every 5 seconds, like, unless you're doing a class at me, and then that's probably what I'll do. But one-on-one personal training, it's like, you can really get into that spot where you can just see them starting to struggle, and you can really coach them through that, and that's like, that's really something special. And as well as that, then obviously you can personalize the program crazy and go really down the route of very specific goals. Generally, you can lift heavier weights, maybe not with the new studio now. That's going to be, we're going to have a cool scaling method for that. But I'm so excited. I'm so excited to have the split and have the diversity of the training, because obviously, the more options you have, the better.
Yeah, 100%. Because I know so many people have wanted to kind of work with us before in the past, but haven't been able to because, and what's kind of stopping, holding them back is maybe that little bit of anxiety about going and initially maybe training in that group. And then even like if you look locally, there's not many places. Maybe one or two places. I don't even think, most places you want to go, you get personal training. You got a one-on-one personal trainer, but you're doing it in a room full of around a gym, or an open gym floor in front of everybody else. Like, we will have one of the only place that has a private studio, which is good, which is going to be fantastic. So between that and the yoga, and then being able to do the odd boxing class and stuff like that there as well, it's going to be fantastic. And then moving into
that, yoga's not for everybody, Pilates is not for everybody, one-on-one PT is not for everybody, group training is not for everybody. So now we have that, that diversity. It's like, as well as having all these options available to everybody, for people that only have very particular tastes, it's like we can cater to them as well. And again, the more people you can serve, the more people you can help, the more lives you can change.
Yeah, 100%. And that's kind of what it's all about. And that's kind of now the new studio, or the high performance unit, as we're going to call it. It's still up for debate. That's kind of my favorite so far, but we'll see.
I like that.
Yeah. That's kind of where all the group training is going to take place. And again, the beautiful thing about it is this, one of the main things about it is all the new toys, the new space. One of the reasons we made the jump, made the investment, was kind of obviously just with the smaller studio. I feel like obviously in 2021 there's going to be a higher demand really for more space. You know what I mean? So we really give people as much space as they want, to be much better ventilated, kind of as I feel like people's needs are changing due to what needs and wants are changing due to COVID. But it also means then, we're actually going to finally be able, we'll have the space for barbells, we'll have the space for skipping, we'll have the space for these kind of complex movements, which is going to be fantastic, which really means we can really open up the programming as much as you want. Like literally, like, the sky's the limit now. We have got loads of cool new barbells coming. We've got a big 10-day rig coming, loads and loads of new gear. It's going to be fantastic. Even got the basketball hoop up there the other day. I was throwing a few hoops there today. So there's definitely loads and loads of room for activities. And the beautiful thing about it now is when it comes to functional fitness, I really feel like we generally are going to be miles ahead of anyone I know of anyway. Especially because of our new level method, or our new grading system, or color coded system. So basically what we're doing now is we're basically going to be applying the same grading system you'd use in martial arts to fitness. So it's like, can you become a black belt of fitness? The answer now is yes, you can. This is going to allow us to individualize the workouts even more to people based on their level. So every single workout, there's essentially going to be 4 or 5 workouts running simultaneously, and depending on your level, say you're a white belt, blue belt, black belt, whatever, as you're moving through the grades, you will have the progressions already sitting there for you. So if the workouts will be even more customized to the individual, there'll be even more toys, more opportunities to grow. But at the same time, it gives you a clear and direct path from where am I today to where I want to be. And there's a nice simple step. And the beautiful thing about it is you need to be well rounded. We got a lot of people, like a lot of us naturally, like say, like, if I might be naturally strong, but my cardio is shit or my flexibility is shit, I mean, I might be, I say a brown or black belt when it comes to strength, but then my cardio, my flexibility might be a white belt. So like, it's really going to encourage us to produce well-rounded athletes, which is going to be fantastic, and it's going to give them a clear path from where you are today to where you want to be. You got things like, you got, front squats, you got things like deadlifts, you got, complex movements, you got things like neurological and core, which is like, being able to do a double under. That's not necessarily, it's a hard cardio movement, but it's also hard because there's a lot going on. You really have to have kinesthetic awareness. You get what I'm saying? Being able to move your body, getting your brain and your muscles to work together. Flexibility, mobility is a part of it. Cardio is a part of it. Running's a part of it. There's rings is going to be a part of it as well. So a little bit of gymnastics and stuff in there as well. So it really is going to be so fun, and I hope to God we get to open it soon. Like it's going to be ready by the end of the month. It's going to be ready hopefully by the end of next week, at least be functional by the end of next week. Anyway, obviously things have slowed down a lot with the whole COVID situation, but then I'm hoping to God mid-February they're going to let us open back up. And we can maybe talk about this later, but I honestly really feel like we need an absolutely massive wellness campaign. I think if you did a cost benefit analysis, closing down the gyms, people now more than ever need things like meditation, yoga, exercise, nutrition coaching. People need these things more than ever. If we really are serious about health and we're serious about creating a population that is fortified against COVID, it's like, listen, there's one thing stopping the spread. It's like from what I've known, I've done a decent bit of research into it. Like, it's very difficult to stop the spread of viruses. What we can do is make sure that if any of us as individuals catch the virus, that our health markers are up here. There seems to be a massive deterioration of what does it mean to be healthy in this country. It seems to mean be under 60 and don't have any diagnosed health issues. And for me, that is such a low standard, and as Tony Robbins says, you'll never exceed beyond the standards you set for yourself. I just think it's such a low standard. I'm more interested in like, was the person healthy? What's the body fat percentage? What's their cardiovascular health? Like, can they run a 5K or not? You know what I mean? What's the mobility like? What's their stress management like? What's their diet been like? These are all important things. Whereas like being under 60 and not having any diagnosed health conditions, because again, just because they're not diagnosed doesn't mean they're not there under the hood as well. But again, that's a separate story. And again, it's just because this is what we do for a living. Like, we've been tracking the data. We want to know, what you're doing fitness tests, doing things like, body fat metrics, hip and waist, hip to waist ratio, blood pressure, all this stuff. These are all important things that we're interested in because they're, there's enough data there to suggest that, these things are very, 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 very important when it comes to assessing if a person is overall healthy, and not only just healthy, but resilient. There's a difference between not dying and thriving. And I feel like we need to be pushing the nation towards thriving. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's so clear that if you are fit and healthy and strong, and you've had a good diet, it's like, COVID really should not be that big of a concern for you. It's like, it can maybe be hell of a journey. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not going to minimize it by saying it's ending like the flu, but I'm sure it's much more intense than that for a lot of people. But it's like, if you're healthy and your body is resilient, that should be the goal. Resiliency should be the goal. You know what I mean? Not just bare bones health, whatever people decide to call that.
Yeah, I think the argument to that, and not a very good argument, in like, well, obviously there's a couple of arguments. One which is the argument that the government's making, but then two is a personal argument that I've heard people make, and a general attitude is like such an annoying thing to hear as a PT is like, you know, I'm overweight. You know, I'm gonna okay. Should I lose the 4 extra stone that I have hanging around? But you know, I knew a 35-year-old there, young, fit, healthy, died of a heart attack, and then they use that as their get out of jail free card. It's kind of like, sure, it could happen or it could not happen. It's like, look, that's 100%, but at the same time, you know, you're not giving yourself a fucking chance. And I think, you know, you deserve a chance. And as you said, it's like that's a pretty low standard to set for yourself. You know, you know someone fit and healthy who died. Realistically, you know, look for obese people over 60. There's not many.
Yeah.
You know, they're dead.
Listen, I don't know. It's like it's literally like they're like most people are overweight or obese. Like over like I think of like last time I checked the statistics, it was around 65%, 63, 64% maybe. Haven't checked in a while now, to be fair. But like this is massive. Like, and most people don't realize how lean you need to be healthy. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you can pinch an inch, you're probably overweight. And if you can grab a handful, you're probably obese. Like, you don't have to look that fat to actually be classified as obese. And then obviously there's levels to obesity. We're kind of moving towards more obesity, like, you know what I mean?
And then at the same time, you know, there is body types and all that kind of stuff. Like, for talk's sake, like if you're a woman and you carry all your fat around your lower belly and your thighs, you know, there's a chance that you might have as much body fat as a woman who, you know, disperses it all evenly across her body, but actually has a thinner frame and looks thinner than you, but she's the same with the body fat. That's not the conversation we're having. You know, we're literally saying gram for gram, how much body fat do you have? You know, and is it to the point where it's filling up your fat cells, it's starting to appear, and chances are it's going to start seeping into your arteries and all your blood vessels and all that kind of stuff. And that's it's just not good. It puts strain on your body, puts strain on the entire system. And you know, as I said, it's like with that strain, you inject something like, you know, a virus in there. It's like you're just, you know, you're tipping the bin over.
Yeah. It's like. Like, because you see people all the time doing things like, you know, wear your mask, social distance, wash your hands. And it's like, yeah, that's great, do that. But also be fit, be healthy, be strong, eat well. You know, these are the things that are going to make even more of a difference. Because, like, you know, it's like the virus is only like destroying the health system when, you know, vulnerable people get it. And like a lot of people are in the vulnerable category due to their own lifestyle choices. You know what I'm saying? It's like that, and that's for me is just the elephant in the room. It's like most people are in the vulnerable category because of their lifestyle choices. If we had have had a slightly different approach, if we had have kept the wellness industry open, if we had a kind of had a genuine push, not Leo Varadkar giving this silly spiel in the park. I'm saying actually put your money where your mouth is, subsidize the gym industry, let them open at reduced capacity, set the standard very high so that, you know, they have to have exceptional hygiene, they have to have, you know, booking systems and COVID tracing in place, and, you know, and all these things. And then let's see what we can do with that. You know, yogis, nutrition coaches, mindset, mindfulness, all this stuff. And we like really, 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 you know, put our money where our mouth was and actually have a genuine push to get people healthy. Like, you know, we've seen like 6 months, we've seen people lose 100 pounds in 6 months, you know what I mean? Or 50 pounds, you know, like we've seen, I must have at least 100 clients past or present who've lost 50 pounds or more in 6 months. That is genuine life changing. And I said, like, there's always going to be the elephant, or not the elephant, like the what's it called?
Exception.
The exception to the rule, you know what I mean? Or the that one person in 100. It's like, that's fine, but it's like play the numbers game. You want to be in the 99%. Don't be worried about the 1%. It's like you can drastically increase your health markers and metrics, and like the data is clear. It's like, you know, if you are genuinely young, fit, and healthy, it's like, you know, you will not be adding to an already stressed out healthcare system. It's like we all need to take, again, individual responsibility. We seem to be moving towards.
That's a great point. That's a great point. I really like that point. Is literally, it's like you have to take care of yourself to take care of others. That's great.
Yeah. But anyway, again, we could rant about kind of COVID and stuff like that all day, which is fine. Again, I hope, again, our members are people who are putting their money where their mouth is. They're investing in coaching, they're keeping up the training. They're not, you know what I mean? They're not using the lockdowns as an excuse to, you know, to let it all go. We're adapting and we're overcoming. That's been our philosophy since the whole thing started, you know, and we have done a fantastic job. It has been very, very difficult. It's kind of, you know, trying to catch water in your hands. Like, you know, we're working harder and harder and harder. And, you know, it's just hard to keep, you know, to hold on to any of it. Like, you know, you're working twice as hard for half the benefit, you know what I mean? It's definitely been a tough year. And, you know, I've never been more stressed or anxious when it comes to say a year or a period of my life.
Yeah.
You know, if I had this kind of level, this level of effort any other year would have resulted in huge
Millions.
progress and huge
Yeah.
gains. But you know, it's
And
just
something
doing it now to keep
something
the
I was
lights on.
thinking, it's just so random.
I
It's
know.
such a random thing to happen. Like literally, like in your lifetime, never would you have guessed that
Yeah.
everything was going to be closed.
Yeah.
Everything. All
Yeah.
right. It's like for talk's sake, I remember talking to one of the clients here. You know, a hairdresser. Oh, you'll always be in business. You know, people always need the haircut. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
Absolutely nuts.
And take a hairdresser for example there. Like, and this is what frustrates me as well. It's like a scientific approach would dictate that, right? It's like we understand how the virus transmits. So it transmits through droplets. Droplets from an infected person have to literally get into an orifice, eyes, nose, mouth, ears of an uninfected person. That's how the transmission occurs. Maybe somebody touches it, it's on a table or whatever, and it touches their eyes. But it's like we can create the conditions where, again, if we set very high standards, where somebody could go in and get their hair cut and be completely safe.
Hazmat suits.
That's what I'd be doing. Like, you know, you see all these people, like grandparents not getting to see
like,
children and everything like that. I'm like, well, give
people.
them a hazmat suit and they'll be fully protected.
I literally know people that are at a stage in their business where they will wear a fucking hazmat suit to cut someone's hair because it's literally that life or death.
100%, and that's what I'm saying. And then when you look at that, it's like, well, then why wouldn't you let them? Why wouldn't you let them do that if they're willing to meet these high standards? Even for us, it's like, you know, like we can guarantee now, even in the new facility, you know, I can give you 4 meters apart. It's, you know, it's way more well ventilated. The equipment will be clean before and after. We have a booking system, a contact tracing system. It's like we could, you know, work on restricted numbers, blah, blah, blah. It's like, but you're still not allowed. And that's kind of what the frustrating thing is. Like, there's the only option so many businesses have is death. And we are blessed because, you know, maybe because we're quite tech savvy. We understand the online business. We've been kind of dabbling in online coaching now for many years. Like I got certified, done the first ever online coaching certification back, I think it was 2017, 2018. You know, so we've been kind of, this has been a part of our business, a much smaller part of our business obviously than it is now. You know, but we've been dabbling into that. I just feel so bad when I give out. Like, I'm not giving out. I'm not necessarily always giving out for myself. I'm giving out from a place of empathy for the people who don't have the skills, knowledge, tools to move online. They wouldn't have an idea how to set up a click and collect system. They have no idea how to pivot their business online, and they're literally just left to die. And that is just the greatest tragedy of them all, because, like, you know, people all talk about economics and like the one as if, like, you know, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk. It's like, that's not economics. 99% of businesses are small businesses. They're family owned, you know, family operated business. Like these small things, mom and pop stores. Like that's what the economy is. The economy is not Jeff Bezos. You know what I mean? But again, these guys are getting richer and richer. It's like the gap is getting wider and wider between. It's like, too soon you'll be like, there'll be no middle class left. It'll be like, you'll be rich, you'll be poor, and that'll be the end of it. Like, there'll be no in between.
Yeah, no, it's absolute madness. It is crazy. It's such a sad and strange time that people are so left without their routines, and they're literally, you know, people don't do well without routine. I find, like, most of the biggest common complaint that I've had is Monday through Friday. This is, you know, pre-COVID. Monday through Friday, people are doing well because that is basically like 70 or 80% of the week. So they've got no choice but to set up routine. You know, they've got, because if you fuck up 70 or 80% of your life, if 70 or 80% of your life is not at least somewhat on the rails, you know, you're heading down a very slippery slope very quick. And this is why, you know, people can allow for 20% lax on the weekend, and that's what they do. You know, so they slide on the weekend, they don't set up the rules or the restrictions, they let it all go. And, you know, whatever, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But, you know, you see people then when they're trying to hit their goals, that's the part they struggle with. It's the bit that they didn't set up the routine with. You know, oh, well, I'm good Monday through Friday, but then, and then you just hear some waffle out of their mouth. And it's kind of like, because they haven't really, you know, communicated it or organized it in their own head to themselves yet. Because I don't think that, for most people, they don't actually know what it is. It's the fact of, you know, a schedule, a cue, a routine, and a reward, and dopamine hits all throughout the day in like a multi-layered level that generally takes some time and organization to sort out. And that's basically what everybody's doing, whether you know it or not. COVID left everybody without any kind of routine, and these people were just literally left high and dry in terms of, and again, not financially, like emotionally, socially. They don't know what to do. You know, and this is like depression's at an all-time high. You know, people are generally struggling. The conversation I'm having with people is, you know, that for a long time, initially anyway, they were sliding back, and, you know, 90% of people I talk to are either my family or my clients, and the people that I have some form of influence into, and, they're not struggling that bad because, we know what to do. We've set up a plan. We know the crack. But anybody who I have absolutely no influence to or just doesn't give a shit about what I say in general, some are doing well. Obviously, they've got their own initiative, but the people who need it, they're sliding. And it's so sad to see because, they were literally clutched onto whatever routine they had, just from my scope, they were overweight, but not gaining weight. They were, somewhat social, had some hobbies, but no real passion. And that's kind of how they were getting by. And that's something I just feel like people are really lacking. They're lacking that routine and lacking that like, because again, some people just have interest and they're hanging on by their interest. But people like you, who actually have a passion, it's like that would, like, a passion will get you up out of bed in the morning if it's fucking raining fire outside. You know what I mean? But people who don't have that passion, they just have an interest in life. They just have an interest in something. They can get very, very defeated and very disheartened with the littlest of shakes. And this was a hell of a shake, so out of the blue that nobody could even predict it. And it's, you see an awful lot of turtles upside down, flopping their little legs around, and it's very sad because they're struggling. Like, if you leave a turtle on its back for long enough, it'll die.
Yeah. And that's something that I even like to touch on, because even for myself, they're just kind of reference me as kind of being someone, who kind of has, bit of get up and go and bit of passion for life and this kind of stuff. But what I've really done, like, I really want to emphasize to people, like, when I hate to want to feel like I'm coming across from a place of kind of preaching. Like, everything I do, and the reason I built the program the way it was is because I know how useless I am when left to my own devices. I am useless left to my own devices. Therefore, what I do is I set up systems that create leverage and they force me to follow through. They force me to be the best version of myself. You know what I mean? I know for a fact, like, I have to take Fighting Fit, for example. The reason I'm so passionate about business is because I know I have to make about 150 grand a year before I even make a penny. You get what I'm saying? So I'm like, right, I got to get up. We got to get to work here. Like, you know what I mean? I made a commitment. I'll never miss a paycheck. You get what I'm saying? Everyone's going to get paid on time every fucking week, and no, we'll never miss one. You get what I'm saying? That we've made promises to clients and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? So I basically have just created leverage, and that's what we encourage people to do with fitness. And the hardest part about it is, like, now what kind of remote coaching, online working, all this stuff, what it has done is it's given people a lot more freedom. But freedom is a double-edged sword. You get what I'm saying? Freedom is a double-edged sword. It's dangerous as well, because too much freedom, again, is like that YouTube workout is super easy to do, but it's also super easy not to do. You get what I'm saying? And that's what our system, there's a lot of accountability built into the system, because, we want people to book their session. We want them to, make that micro commitment. I want to see your name on the list. I want you to, have to plan and put it into your week, because if I say I'll do it, and I've done it, it's like, oh, I'll do that workout later becomes tomorrow, but tomorrow becomes next week becomes never. You know what I mean? You've kind of fallen off the wagon. And it's the same with anything. Like, what I just really would promise people to do is stop waiting for motivation, create leverage, get invested financially, emotionally, spiritually, get invested in your goals, tie other people into it. Like, what I do is, like, if I'm feeling passionate about something, strike while the emotion is strong. Because if you wait till tomorrow, you're probably not going to feel as passionate about it. So what I used to always do, even when I was trying to get the business started, and you always hit these little walls along the way. You got all this paperwork done and blah blah blah. Just all these little mini walls you have to jump over. What I used to always do was I'd make a phone call, I'd leave a voicemail, I'd send an email, I'd do something that made me have to go to the next step. And that's what I've made a really good habit of doing. I'll take some sort of action that will force me to the next step. Whereas it's easy to say, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. Or, like, even like, applying for a driver's license, the pain, oh, you get the picture and you go up and it's closed, and oh, sure, I'll do that. And then sure, it's 3 or 4 weeks before you even try again. You get what I'm saying? But just take some sort of small action that's going to pull you into the next step. And that's why, having a trainer, having a coach, and trainers and coaches aren't just for people who are struggling. Like, trainers and coaches are really as well for people who want to go to the next level. Like this, our whole thing with Fighting Fit is like the path of self-actualization. Like, we want to help people on this journey towards becoming the best version of yourself. Like, how cool and how strong and how fit and how happy can Brandon be? That's what excites me, and that's what like this whole business is about. Like, the path of self-actualization. Like, we are not a quantity over quality business. We are a quality over quantity. We would rather work with less clients and go deeper than to work with 1,000 clients. You know what I mean? You see all these other gyms, and that's their business model, and that's fine. But it's like, you only see, like, the 500 people sign up. How many before and afters do you see? You get what I'm saying? Like, that model just doesn't work for a lot of people. And there's 10%, yourself, from the precision nutrition coaching, like, we got the bakers, we got the chefs, you know what I mean? Some people will just do it. There's 10% there. You can give them any sort of plan. They'll follow the plan to the letter. That 10% are the people who are successful at gyms. The other 90% need a little bit of coaching, need a little bit of help, need a little bit of guidance, need a little bit of a hug, they need a bit of a kick up the arse. They need, there's a lot. This is it. And I know from experience, that's what I'm like. I'm still the worst client in the gym. You get what I'm saying? I need I need coach more than anybody else. And I have coaches, and I've got business coaches and all these different kind of coaches, because I need that. I need these, because I've got so much freedom as an entrepreneur, because I don't have a boss. I need to set up these systems and these structures and these walls that force me to do the things I know I want to be doing anyway, because when I don't do them, that's when I feel at my worst. When I don't feel like I'm making any progress, when I don't feel like we're going nowhere, that's when I feel shit. That's why people might notice, like, if you've been in fighting for a long time, every 6 months there's some sort of major change, because we're genuinely interested in creating the best program we can possibly make. That is the goal. We want to have the best program. Not interested in creating the cheapest program. I'm interested in creating the best program, because the cream always rises to the top, and that's who we want to be. We want to be the best we can be. We want to have the best program with the best coaches and the best clients and the best facility, and just really, go that level deeper. Like, we're not really interested. We do a lot of one-on-one stuff, a lot of coaching calls and stuff. Like, we're not interested in superficial. Like, I want to get to deep. I want to have a deep conversation. There's not what's your why. Like, well, why do you actually want to do it? Oh yeah, no, I just want to lose weight and be a little bit fitter. Oh yeah, but why do you want to lose weight and be a little bit fitter? Oh, just would like to fit into that old pair of jeans. Oh, well, why do you want to fit in that old pair of jeans? Well, I want to fit in that old pair of jeans because when I was wearing them jeans, I think my partner found me more attractive, and our relationship was better. And when our relationship was better, there was less pressure on the kids and experts. Like, you got to start to delve a little bit deeper into these things, and that's kind of what that one-on-one relationship with a coach will do. Like, and our model is we make it more affordable because we take away the expense from the fitness element by doing either online or in groups. And what we do instead is we give the one-on-one support with the nutrition, and then with the accountability, the motivation, the mindset, that kind of stuff. Because most people, the fitness is great crack. It's much more flexible. It's much more affordable. You got workout options from 5:30 in the morning till 7:00 in the evening. And as I said, the energy is great. There's still a coach there to make sure you're doing it correctly and safely. You're still in a structured workout program designed by our team. You get what I'm saying? And that's fantastic. But it's like, most people don't struggle with the fitness. Most people struggle with the nutrition and the accountability. And that's kind of what we try and over deliver. And that's why I really would love, even for our clients, to really, really lean into that and really utilize having a coach, having a qualified professional on call for the guts of, 24/7 within reason. We'll always go back to it in 24 hours. Like, that's where the value is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's something that I always kind of found, or not that I always kind of found, that the more that I, deal with people, the more that I find that the average diet is fucking sad. It is sad. It is a sad old diet consisting of pizza and chicken nuggets and chips and curry sauce and cheese and bread. And that's pretty much it, to be honest. It's such a shitty fucking diet, and it's sold to people as normal. And I just think that, this normal diet and this normal culture that people have, it's like, dare I say, fitness woke culture, I think I can see it climbing. You know what I mean? It's like they're like as a society and a culture, like we really are starting to, peer into that next level, because you can see the conversation changing. Like, something. It's almost come back to old times. Maybe that's kind of how it works. But like, calorie deficit is starting to come back as, the be all or end all of weight loss. And it's such a nice time to come to, because I like, you see so much shit, and it's not innovation. It's not, science innovation. It's fucking, it's snake oil. You know what I mean?
It's booty, and it's slim shakes.
Not even that, even intermittent fasting. I know myself, like, I was kind of caught up with the intermittent fasting thing for a while, like, but not that there's not benefits to it, and not that it's not a fantastic way to lose weight, and not that it doesn't work, but the fact that it was like there's this air of mystery as to behind why it worked, and
there's air of magic.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, like, what is this? It's like, oh, I know the secret that nobody else knows. And it's like, realistically, it's like, no. It's like, the reason I like intermittent fasting when I first started was because I wasn't willing to give up shit food, and I wasn't willing to give up massive portions. So it's like, that worked for me. It was fantastic to eat like a big greedy bastard and still lose weight. It was fantastic because there was a way to do it. But at the end of the day, it was a calorie deficit. It wasn't until
because you can only fit in so many calories across, because you're eating 2 meals a day instead of 4 meals a day. And that's why it works. And it's important to people understand that's why it works. As well as that, then from a different perspective, there is some research to suggest that, there is kind of hormonal benefits and, in terms of kind of lowering blood sugar and that kind of stuff. But it's not from a weight loss lens, it's different.
Flipping into that 80-20, it's like 80% of the reason why it works is because of the calorie deficit. And the other 20% reason is because, your body could be getting more efficient using fat. Maybe your metabolism is speeding up. Maybe you are fidgeting more, maybe you are, more alert, more switched on. And I'm not saying that any of that's not true. It could certainly be 100%. But, the 80% is because you're not shoving as much food down your gullet, because, like, again, your most valuable asset for compounding anything is time. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you think you can eat 4,000 calories a day. What if I give you 13 hours to do it? Of course you could. You know,
Yeah.
of course, it just takes that length of time to be able to do it, and that consistency of racking up small to moderate numbers over time, and yeah, you'll absolutely smash through it. And that was a big eye opener for me when I got to the stage where in one meal I was actually starting to gain weight, and that's where an awful lot of people are. Like I literally got to the stage where I could eat 3,500 calories in a meal, no problem. Like I was literally hungry afterwards. I was like, what? And then I ended up getting what I call plate dysmorphia, where a normal plate of food didn't look like a normal plate of food again.
Yeah.
And but again, back to the point that I was trying to make about diet is just like something that I got very, very interested in because I was always such a picky eater growing up, was this idea of expanding my palate, starting to taste new foods, because like I remember like putting food in my mouth and literally gagging, and I know that an awful lot of people share the same experience, and I know you absolutely like slag the shit out of me and Chris growing up because you're one of these people who
So you
just
just couldn't relate to it, yeah.
And for me, like generally, like I like it's not that I wanted to be the awkward fruit sitting at the end of the table, everybody looking, will you finish your broccoli, you absolute child. Like it literally tasted like shit. Like it made me gag. Well, it realistically it just tasted like broccoli, but my body didn't respond and didn't like that taste. And it's not until you condition your mouth and condition your senses to be able to open up and be a little bit open-minded, because I was also a very closed-minded person at the time, so I didn't have this like wanting to try new things, wanting to try and experience the flavor. I liked what I liked. I liked, sugar. I liked, that whatever was sweet and pleasurable to my palate. I didn't, if it had any kind of complexity or left swerve, I wasn't going to take it on. And, I just think an awful lot of people have fallen into that trap because when you're younger, it's like, I know now from having Mason, it's like it's very easy to get him to eat simple sugars. It's very easy to get him to eat bread like ligas and porridge and oatmeal and Weetabix. But like I remember the first time I gave him a little bit of Greek yogurt, and it has that tang to it. It's because I was open to it, he was open to it, and because I was eating it, he was eating it. That was the kind of culture, and so he didn't see it as something strange. But if he had maybe found that by himself, and I didn't give him the positive reinforcement that he needed, maybe he would have, oh, that's weird, I'm not going near that again. And it starts from that, you know what I mean? And some people, I was watching a really cool, I think it was a video on YouTube. I think what is it called? I think it's called Freaky Eaters, guys. Definitely check this out. It is hilarious. And there's people who, it's basically people going through exactly what I was talking about, but to an insane level. And I'm not sure how much science is behind this. Was really, really interesting. Was that there's apparently this thing called super tasters, right? And so these people really what they do. So it's like there's this like little strip, and if I gave it to you, you wouldn't taste anything. And if you gave it to me, I would taste this weird taste, like almost like a metallic taste or something like that. And it's basically my taste buds are super receptive for whatever reason. And so this is like, and most of these freaky eaters have it, but it's absolutely nuts. It's just good.
Yeah. And I think it's also important when people have these kind of have. I think what people do is like to label themselves or the say I don't like vegetables. Like that's such a broad statement, and we've kind of talked about this a lot in the past. Obviously, with clients, it's something that we come across. And it's like, listen, there's a big difference between boiled broccoli and oven roasted broccoli with garlic and salt and pepper. I mean, it's a completely different dish, completely different flavor, completely different texture. So what I would say is like it's important to revisit foods and not necessarily have that what I would call a limiting belief that's kind of limiting your palate, limiting the amount of nutrition you can actually get into your body. And so it's really important that you revisit these things. And maybe your mom was a bad cook. You know what I mean? Maybe that's why you don't like vegetables. You get what I'm saying? But like revisit these things and try new recipes, and don't be afraid to try new things, because if you want to lose weight, one of the best ways to do it is to eat high volume, low calorie foods, and vegetables are that. Vegetables will fulfill you up, they'll stretch your tummy, give you that full feeling of satisfaction, fill your body with nutrients. Whereas the calorie dense but low volume foods, you'll be able to eat a lot of them and not necessarily get that feeling of satisfaction.
Yeah, it's something as well that I noticed is just on that point of like, your man maybe been a bad cook. Is like I am obsessed with Gordon Ramsay. Like I am absolutely obsessed. I think every bit of content he's ever produced, I watched it. And I just think it's so hilarious. Like a big eye opener for me was, he goes like, I trust whatever he says. I don't know what he knows. I don't have his palate, but like he calls, world class cooks apparently. He's like throwing their dishes at them. He's like, this is absolute shit. And so it's like, look, your mom's probably not a world class cook, to be honest. So it's like there's a chance she's making a few fuck ups in the kitchen. And for me, in my own cooking career, like I know for myself, just cooking for myself, it's like I've taken on, these principles of trying to cook good food. And I fail all the time. Like I've oversalted it, or I've under this, or this is hard, and this is chewy, and it's not nice. You know, it's like, but you, like, I think for anybody who's looking to, if you've got time, because some people, I know there is literally people who don't have a fucking spare second. I know that, you know, and again, you're the, like, that's the exception. Don't just be thinking, as I said, that you're like, oh, that's me, I have no time. It's like, you've loads of time. You watch 4 hours of Netflix every day, you have time. And so the thing about it is like, if weight loss is something that's important to you, you should become a foodie, because food, as we said, is a massive, it's pretty much the only thing that matters with weight loss. Like, to be honest, like, I don't care how hard you work. If you're anyway a normal person and have like an average appetite, you probably overeat. And especially now, not only having an average appetite, is like, we eat superfoods. Like, the calories in the foods today is 4 or 5 times like per square inch calorie dense than, you know, food was originally as it comes in nature. You know, it's fucking
Because
crazy.
it's all been GMO. They've been selectively modifying the crops, taking the best ones, the ones that produce the most yield are the biggest, and they just keep reproducing them, and they just get the cycle of.
I'm talking about man-made food. I'm talking about chocolate bars.
Yeah.
I'm talking like I genuinely doubt that fucking, you know, a GMO tomato is your problem, or a GMO carrot. You know, it's like,
And it is difficult for people, because I seen a picture on Facebook last night. And it was basically a family sitting around the table, and literally all they had on the table was like a big dish of potatoes. And that was it. Everybody was sitting around the table just eating potatoes. And it's like, that is a much easier environment to lose weight. And in the same breath, I was in Mr. Price last night, and I was walking in the sweet aisle, and it's like, holy jeepers. It's like, there's so much stuff here, and it's so hyperpalatable, it's so calorie dense. It's like, it is a minefield, and it is the environment is more difficult. But it's like, at the end of the day,
I do think we should just preface this conversation exactly again. Like, I come at everybody with 110% empathy and no judgment. I understand that we are literally just a product of, you know, our environment. And like I said, it is a minefield. It is such a tantalizing environment. You know, you maybe grew up in a certain culture, certain information wasn't available to you. You know, you just weren't schooled in disciplines. I know, because I wasn't. Like, I grew up with the worst diet in the world. You know, no willpower, no discipline, no nothing. You know what I mean? It's like absolute like loserville. And I just think, you know, it's like, but we can, like, you can grow, you can have this growth mindset. And I think that it starts with understanding that you're like, who you are as a person, like, is not set in stone. What does Jim Rohn says? You're not a tree.
yeah.
It's like, you can move places, you know, like, you can change as a person. You don't have to be the same way. You know, it's like, that's the difference between a dog. You know, you give a dog weeds and it comes back and it's got weeds. You give a human being weeds and it comes back to you with like a broth. You know what I mean? It's like, we have this amazing ability to change and maneuver and manipulate. Like, we are so fantastic. If we just took that on as an identity instead of this, like, I don't like vegetables. It's like, it's not you don't like vegetables. It's like, you didn't like the vegetables you tried. You know, it's like, maybe you could try a different recipe. Maybe you could try again. You know, maybe you could try conditioning yourself to something. Like, that's the same. Like, you don't like exercise the first time you try it. It's awful the first time you try it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's that Tim. My thing with exercise as well is like, if you're feeling like a 2 out of 10, do 2 out of 10. And the problem with exercise is the same as the problem with like food. Is like, people are looking for the most effective, the most efficient exercise, the healthiest, lowest calorie foods. Like, you know, like, instead of just saying like, start where you're at and just like, you know, if all you're fit for is a walk, go for the walk. You get what I'm saying? Like, and people, I said, we talked about this before as well. And it's like, you know, even people in the gym there, it's like, I've got this bit of a niggle. It's like, oh yeah, well, you know, you're probably better off just getting out, going for a couple of walks this week. And like, oh yeah, what about my membership? I'm not going to get by. It's like, but like, me telling you that you need a walk instead of an exercise is the value. That's the value, because it's best for you today and it's best for you into the long term, and it's stopping you from hurting yourself. You get what I'm saying? And that's the value of having a coach. You know, not necessarily everybody always sees that.
Well, you've made 2 sensational points there. First one being exactly that. It's like, look, too many people overload. They look for perfection instead of just, you know, just get it done. You know what I mean? Like, I very rarely, if anybody knows me at all, very rarely seek perfection. I always seek perfection, but I'm never disappointed in the fact that I'm not going to get it, because
it's the pursuit. It's like, even like saying earlier on, like, you know, this big rant about, I want to try and have this perfect program. I know we probably never have the perfect program, but it's the pursuit of that is what gets me excited.
Yeah. And then the next thing you said was,
no idea. Not sure.
Exercise. Oh, it's gone. We're in the weeds now.
That's the value of the coach, me telling you not to do.
Yes, exactly, 100%. Like, that's such a good point. It's like, you have to, like, some people, because again, this perfection mentality, if they've got a sore knee and they still want to show up and give 210%. It's like, look, it's like, if you're in this for the long game, we can afford a couple of breathers along the way, And I said, it's like, look, not every session you're meant to die. You're not meant to die on every single hill you climb.
Yeah. Or come in and do a bit of stretching, or if you've been to the physio, come in and just sit in the corner and do your exercises. Because, like, I know you probably won't do them at home. I know I've probably never done the exercise the physios give me consistently, even though I know I should have. But if I had that accountability, or went to my personal trainer, or went to my class, and even I took my sheet me here, this exercise I'm doing, and obviously the coach can check your form and that kind of stuff. Yeah, what can I ask?
That's something, sorry, that I just think would be such a valuable service. I'm not sure if if there's any physios out there that even do it, but it's like physiotherapy coaching, like actual I suppose there is, but only it seems to be in very severe cases. Like what is it? Physical
like rehabilitation centers and that kind of stuff.
Rehab therapy, yeah. Where like you see these people walking, like all I seem to see, like people walking out of physios with is an exercise that they don't really seem to know how to do. And for me, like that was where it was at. Like for me, once I started reading the Supple Leopard, like getting into these exercises, but not only that, it's like then starting the process of understanding how to do them correctly and how to get the benefits. And the devil really is in the details, because if you do this 10 times a week, so but again, it's probably better. It's probably better than a kick in the arse, but
better than nothing. Everything's better than nothing.
Yeah, but it's like, but you're not really getting
a couple of small tweaks, and it could be twice as productive. And I think the key answer to that is it's expensive. It's like, for a physios, I don't know, physios locally are roughly €50 a session, 30-minute session. Like, and it's like it can all add up if you have to go do that maybe 3 or 4, because you're supposed to do your things every day, or do 3-4 times a week. And that's why I just feel like there's such value in the Fight Fit membership. It's like, considering it's 30 minutes for a physio session, it's €50 to go into the doctor for 10 minutes. It's like, come on, the value you get of Fight and Fit, I think, is incredible. 5 workouts a week with a trainer, one-on-one nutrition coaching, one-on-one accountability coaching, access to our amazing team, all the bells and whistles that we have as part of the program. I really feel like it is fantastic. And I feel like gyms do the cheap gyms do a disservice to people that need help, because they don't charge enough to give people the help that they need. And if they worked, there's more budget gyms available than ever before. And if they worked, we would not have over 60% of the population would be obese.
Yeah, but again, we've had this conversation as well before. It's like, if you are one of those people who just need a plan and some weights, fuck me, that's sensational value.
Yeah,
it's
unreal.
Sensational value. You know what I mean? It's like if you are looking to own a gym, don't have the space. It's like, well, you can literally buy yourself a gym. But then obviously you're talking peak times and all this kind of stuff.
And for me, the I don't maybe want a better word, but the sneaky thing about the gym business model is, once you kind of understand it, is like it's impossible for them to earn enough money to keep the lights on and to service all their clients. You know what I'm saying? There's just not enough equipment. There's not enough space. If all the clients showed up, the place would fall apart. And that is unfortunately the elephant in the room. And that's the sneaky bit about it's not designed for everyone to show up. It's really not. Like, there's not enough squat racks. There's not enough machines.
That's why there, what is it? There's like the Fighting Fit saying, there's a place for everybody, but there's not 2 places.
Yeah, this is it. You got to book it. We got a place for everyone, and we will never take on more clients than we can actually provide the service to. But you got to be organized. You can't come whenever you want. Again, we got a booking system. We got to stay organized. And again, just by doing that, I feel like it keeps people organized. It makes a priority. Like, when people pay to pay attention, when people are invested, I think, it's best. It's good for both.
I always think of what Tony Robbins was saying about the Jim Rohn lecture he wanted to go to, and he was talking to some guy, and he's like, "Oh, you should come to this seminar. It'll help you change your life." I know, you're down in the dumps. You really want to change your life. And this is Tony Robbins. I'm sure you all know who Tony Robbins is. If you don't, he's only probably the first Tony when you Google Tony. And he's down in the dumps, or life falling to shit. And somebody said to him, he's like, "Look, come to this seminar." And he's like, "Oh, cool, can you get me in?" He's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, will you?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "Oh, why not?" And he's like, "Because then you won't value it."
Yeah.
If you don't pay, and that literally, every time I have to charge anybody for anything, that's literally what I think about. I'm like, look, I know it's probably going to sting, and now in COVID, it's probably going to sting you more than ever. But it's like, that means, like, I have literally got people onto the Fighting Fit program who are doing really, really well now. And the only reason they're doing well now is because they can't afford it now. They could afford it before, and they paid for it before, and they didn't get any results because they didn't value, because they could throw 39-year-old in the bin. They could generally 39-year-old made them feel good, made them feel like they were doing what they should be doing, kind of. But what's 39-year-old? It's a 27-year-old class, fuck it. And now 39-year-old is the difference between it's the extra bit of shopping, and that extra bit of shopping now, or that extra luxury is gone. So that means a hell of a lot more to them. And I was thinking, I think it was you maybe said something about tax, or maybe I just read it somewhere. It's like, tax should be a percentage of your total income, and that way, it's like if you have a speeding ticket, well, for you it's 400. Well, for somebody who's making 400k a year. It's probably nothing. So maybe it should be 10% or 5% or 2% of their total thing, and then it stings everybody the same. And it's like, as a fighting for membership, it's like it wouldn't be a bad idea, you know, to find out what your income is and then charge you a percentage of that income, whatever that is, that it would mean enough to you to make sure you fucking show up.
Yeah, because it's like it was more so. Remember, it was Paul Check, and he said the more people paid, the better quality people showed up. They were more invested, more committed, more serious. People who, and again, this is only comes from a place of we've done loads of free stuff in the past and it never works. You get one person in a blue moon that takes advantage of it. Everybody else quits because they're not invested. And that's literally, it's a frustration from trying to do free stuff. But when we've done a lot of community work and stuff in the community center, the boxing club, done a lot of free stuff over the years, and nobody values it because they're not invested, they're not committed. And unfortunately, that's usually for a lot of people the missing piece. There's everything you need to be in the absolute shape of your life, be healthy as anything, mentally, spiritually, is available for free on the internet. But because it's free, you are not going to value it and you're not going to utilize it.
Generally, if you were to listen to this podcast, I could literally sum up and give you everything you need. If you've never heard anything about health and fitness before, find out what a calorie is, find out what your calorie output is, and create a deficit. You will lose weight. I don't care how heavy you are, you lose weight. If you can't have the time to walk more, you can eat less. If you can't eat less, you can walk more. No, it's literally that simple. Eat more fruits and vegetables, and eat some lean protein. And again, the reason we eat lean protein is to build muscle and to keep them calories down. That's it. That is literally it. And then everything else, because you're not doing it, is you need what Stephen said before, is like all these leverage points put in place, because look, we're all fucking lazy, to be honest, and we all need a kick in the arse. We all need some support. We all need some encouragement before at least we get the ball rolling. And for some people, and you might think, Jace, they're so confident, they're so secure, they just do everything straight off the bat, they never need any help. It's like, but you don't know where they've been and where they've come from.
You don't know how many times they've failed in the past.
Not even that. It's like Jerry, someone might, like all these bakers that we talk about, it's like they generally might have grown up in a home whereby, you know, they were just kept on the right rails and they got their momentum early. You know what I mean? It's like, but you just still need that process now. Everybody does. There's not one exception to that rule. And if there are, you know, they literally might just be at 1 in a million.
And whatever it is like these are the cards you were dealt. You can either play your hand or you can fold. It's like, I encourage you to play the hand you were dealt and not fold. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. All right, cool. I think we'll leave it there.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, today's podcast was a little bit of a random one. We just kind of wanted to get back on, getting the ball rolling with the podcast again. But if you do have any questions, any topics you'd like us to cover, we would love to chat about it. Any way we can help you guys, that's what we're here to do, really. That's the whole point of the podcast. So do reach out, you know, leave a comment, send us an email, go to findfitnation.com. As I said at the start, this is obviously a self-sponsored podcast. So feel free, you want to go check us out. You can book a coaching call myself to find out more about our program, see if it's going to be a good fit for yourself. You've got some free resources on our website as well. You know, we got 3 free ebooks, free nutrition guide, free vegan recipe book, and then you also have that fitness mindset mastery as well to help you stay motivated, set some good goals, and hopefully start making some progress. So guys, yeah, with that said, thank you very much for your time. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate it. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, all that good stuff, and we will see you in the next one.
Peace.